Got it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our November 21 Chapel Talk. Tonight we have Lauren Saltzburg speaking, class of 2004. And Lauren is a graduate of the Villanova School of Nursing. And she currently has such a dynamic career in the medical field. She's done everything from pediatric nursing or pediatric neurology nursing. She created and ran a nonprofit. And she currently has a medical practice in New Jersey and is soon to be opening up a second location soon. So we're going to hear some from Lauren. Super excited. And thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn, for having me. I appreciate it. Let me know, are we good? You can hear and see me okay and everything?
Yeah, it's great.
All right, awesome. Okay, so thanks for having me tonight. I always love talking to my Hill fam, especially when it's all females. And so I'm really excited to be here with everyone tonight. We'll probably talk, about 20 minutes or so. I just have a few things that I was kind of thinking about these past few days when I've been thinking about talking and kind of how what's important to hear, what's not important to hear, what can I connect with my other fellow Hill alums, specifically our women. So I was thinking about a few things and something just kept coming up over and over and over again. So I kind of wanted to talk about something I learned in business school, but I have, within the past 4 or 5 years, really applied it to my daily life. And I really wanted to just bring this notion to the table because I think it's something that we all can challenge ourselves with. And so let's get right into it because I just think it's a really cool thing to think about. And so this is called opportunity cost. And I wanted to talk about opportunity cost. And it's an idea that we basically, have learned about back in, business school or MBA school for all of you watching. And you probably have businesses, you have a business degree, what it be, but opportunity cost is something, it's the fundamentals, it's the ABCs of the business world. So you typically are always talking about it in the business sense, but it's something that I really spent time on making every decision in my life an opportunity cost analysis. So what is an opportunity cost? So the idea of an opportunity cost, it basically represents, the potential benefits an individual or an investor or a business misses out on when choosing one alternative over another. Okay, so the whole idea of an opportunity cost is you make one decision for the benefit of yourself or your business, but you're foregoing the benefits of something else that you just decided not to do or not to purchase. So essentially it's the foregone benefit, that you would have gotten from an option that you didn't choose. So when you're looking at something and talking about an opportunity cost, when we're talking about this whole idea of what this is, and it's typically in the business sense, you to properly evaluate them, you have to weigh the costs and benefits of every option available. So the question is, how have I used this opportunity cost since leaving Hill? How have I been able to kind of integrate it in with what I'm doing with my life, my business, which we'll get into kind of more towards the end. And I wanted to challenge you guys to really start thinking about this idea in every single aspect of your life, from the type of toilet paper you buy to the type of vacation that you take to the type of job that you work in next to kids. I mean, it can really be utilized permeated throughout your daily life. So like I said, this is typically discussed in business terms. Hey, if we invest in a stock over a piece of equipment, well, the stock might give us a higher return in the short term, but the piece of equipment is going to be an investment in the long term. So there you have an opportunity cost. Well, which one should we get? Okay, which job should I take? Should we have another kid? Which vacation spot should we go to? Should I get Jiffy or should I get Skippy, or Jiff or Skippy? Okay, so there's always all these different decisions every day in our life. It doesn't have to be A or B. It can be A to Z. It can be 5 options. But are we programming ourselves to always go with this? Are we always doing this? Are we always going down one route? And sometimes we have to take that step back for 5 minutes and say, I've made all the big decisions in my life right now, but what about these little things that can accumulate very easily over a day-to-day basis and then have this accumulative effect throughout the year and throughout the life? So let's start challenging ourselves to have these opportunity cost type analyses throughout our day. So here is what I kind of wanted to delve into a little bit. And I want to discuss a few of what I think are overlooked opportunity costs, in our daily life. Nothing to do with business. I don't care about that. No one cares about that. Let's talk about real day-to-day things that we have to deal with. And I was really thinking about this. And I thought, what do I do on a daily basis where I've started to change my thinking and my way of living and my priorities based on every single thing comes back to, well, what's my opportunity cost? Okay, so the first one that most people think about is their jobs and their income, okay? Because obviously we all have bills to pay, and we just have to, they don't stop, and they're never gonna stop. So we just have to accept them and figure out how to make it work. So the first thing people always think about is usually with their income. And with the, in my opinion, the landscape changing with, yes, a lot of more people are working remotely, are working virtually, but just the way businesses are being run, we're not so much manual labor dependent. A lot of things are getting automated, and like a lot of things are just going right to technology, robotic assisted in the medical world, or things are just completely automated in the retail world. So the landscape of work is changing. And if we don't keep up with it, we're quickly going to fall behind. And so the first thing everyone thinks about with their job, and most people, not all of us, but as we have bills to pay and as we all kind of establish our careers, it's your income. And a lot of times we sacrifice autonomy for a higher income. And as we continue to see the world changing, in that being rich doesn't necessarily mean you have the highest bank account. In my opinion, being rich is being able to create your own schedule. It's being able to say, I'm not working that day because my kid has a soccer game, or you know what, I'm just not feeling it today, so I'm going to be in a few hours. That's rich, is being autonomous, is being able to do what you want with your life and work out with other people. So I think one of the most overlooked things that we are dealing with, not only as a society, but with our friends and our family and ourselves, is, are we not evaluating our opportunity costs with our life, our happiness that we're living in day out with our job? Now, some people are very happy being part of an institution, a university, where they have to go 9 to 5, they get paid, they have that security. That works for a lot of people, but it also doesn't work for a lot of people who want to have their own autonomy, who want to make their own schedule, who don't want to be tied down to a job like that. And if you start to feel that in your heart, you start to get that, oh, that's kind of what I want. Like, I wish I could do that. Then it's time to really look that, are you continuing to give yourself and your time, most importantly, your time, to this job where you're maxed out, or you're leveled out, or it's hard to progress, or you'll never get the autonomy that you want? Don't even worry about advancing. Say your goal is to have a better work-life balance. Well, at some point we may have to say what you're giving up, that quality time with your kids, that extra time for you to just have an hour to yourself, that time to focus on your physical health, go for a run, work on another passion of yours. That's what you're giving up. That's your opportunity cost for the job that you're continuing in. So if it works for now, if you're happy in that and that's what you're doing, keep rolling, keep rolling. But if you hear this and you're starting to think, that's kind of what I want, that's what I need to figure out, then it's probably start time to thinking, all right, you know what, we have to maybe make a few decisions, and we have to start small. You don't have to go quit your job tomorrow, but at some point you need to say, here's my value to the company, and I'm willing to be everything you guys want me to be. I will put everything towards this company, but I need you to respect me as well, that I just need another day home. I need to be with my kids more. I need to have more time for me. I can't work every weekend. I can't be on call 3 nights a week. So whatever field you're in, sometimes it's important to say, you know what, it's not prioritizing yourself, meaning you don't care about your job anymore. You still care. We all care. I mean, we have to find something that you care about. It's just reprioritizing that. It's not all about how many zeros you have in your bank account anymore, okay? Because we all know it's just is going to bring a different set of problems. It doesn't take problems away. It's just moving you to another lane. And that person probably is in a Prius and slowing down. You got to go around them anyway. So, I mean, either way, there's something you got to deal with. So that's the first one that always kind of comes to mind. And it's just focus, income, autonomy. But sometimes we have to think, and I want you guys just to challenge yourself. If you feel that way, it's all right, you know what? Maybe it's time that I looked at this opportunity cost analysis. Another one that really has hit home, because I think a lot of my friends and colleagues who we all graduated with, we have a lot of working women in this world, if not all of them really at this point. And one of the things I think as women that we still like to do, we still like to run the household, and we still like to work, but we still like to be nurturing. And we have this idea that you've heard it all the time. How can women have it all? We know that's not a thing. You just have to make sacrifices in different areas. And the one thing that I think we all still love to do is, why pay for something when you can do it yourself? It's impossible to sometimes say, oh, I am going to spend this extra disposable income that we have on, I don't know, a maid or a housekeeper or someone to do the dogs, whatever it is, whatever something around the house is. And then that's something that came up for me was, I don't enjoy cleaning toilets and things like that. And I have people who do. It really is cathartic for them. They love to clean. It doesn't bring me joy. I do it because I have to do it. You do it because you like to live in a clean home. But I started thinking, when I started my business, that was one of the areas where I said, if I offset 2 hours a week that is spent towards cleaning, which I don't derive pleasure from unless I have Mariah Carey playing, okay? And that just can't happen every week. And so I said, if I can take this substitute out, okay, and offset that cost, then what can I do for those 2 hours? What is the opportunity cost of hiring someone else to come and do all the cleaning, all the yard work, all the laundry, chop everything, and give me an extra 2 to 3 hours a week? So you can either take that expense and save it and do it yourself, which is what we do for most things in our lives, or you start to pick and choose and say, where can I offload this from me or my significant other or your family? Let someone else, hire someone else, delegate it to someone else, do something with it. So your time is now freed up. So now you have taken advantage of that opportunity cost. And now what are you going to do at that time? Don't do it if the opportunity cost isn't worth it. If you're not going to utilize that time with either putting that time into something you care about, spending time with your kids, or starting a new business, or picking up a new hobby, or going for a freaking walk, I don't care what it is, that opportunity cost, at some point, there's a tipping point. There's always a tipping point. At some point, you're going to say, all right, you know what? I'm now annoyed. I don't look forward to doing this anymore. No one looks forward to doing chores, but at some point, there's going to be something in your life where you're like, this is taking up too much of my time and it's taking up too much out of you, where it's taking now you away too much from everywhere else in your life. So these little things in your life, what's the opportunity cost? The opportunity cost even of upgrading to a nice set of pants. Hey, I mean, they're going to be there forever, but that's an expense. And now that expense can't be used towards braces, can't be used towards soccer, can't be used towards a train ticket, can't be used towards your insurance bill. Every single thing has an opportunity cost. And at some point, if you're continuing in the same schedule over and over again, we all need to force ourselves to step back and say, I woke up this morning. Now the opportunity cost, if I didn't take that job down in North Carolina and we didn't move, is staying here. We have security. We know where we're going. We're not lost. We have our family and friends. Or the opportunity cost of you staying is a new job, is a whole new life experience. Could be a pay raise. It could be a pay cut. It could be a lot of different things. So something else we need to think about, at some point, there's a tipping point, okay? Now, oftentimes we do things like, things around the house where we can't justify ever paying someone. It's too hard to ever do things not ourselves, because as women, we just kind of want to do it all anyway, even if we don't have to, and even if we can afford doing it, we just want to. That's who we are. At some point, though, you have to think, am I doing all of these things to save money to go on that vacation with the family? Whereas maybe this year you forego the vacation where you typically need a vacation from the vacation anyway. And you say, you know what? We're not going to do that vacation that we do every 6 months or whatever your family does. Instead, I think I'm going to decide to invest that money into whatever it is you choose. And now your time is freed up. Having that extra me time, whether it is for you or not, whether that's being invested towards something else like we just talked about, can really have a cumulative snowball effects as you move forward. Okay. So at some point it may say, you know what? All we do is work to then be off. All we do is work to then go on vacation. But at some point it's like, why? Why do we keep doing that? Why aren't you continuing to enjoy your life from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep without feeling like you just are getting up to go back to sleep again? There's a tipping point and there's an opportunity cost somewhere in your life that can alleviate that. It doesn't mean it has to be the big one where you're like, hey, job, I'm leaving. It can be something real small, like rearranging your kitchen so you're not bending down each time to get something that you use every day. Put it up at eye height. I mean, it's just annoying. Just little things. Invest in small things in yourself to make your day easier. What are the opportunity costs that you're missing? It doesn't always have to be tangible. It can be relationships. It can be your friends. It can be your family. Your time is the number one most important thing of all. Your opportunity cost of breaking up with a Significant other means a lot more time for yourself and a lot more time with some other people, and then vice versa. Okay, so you have these decisions to make. Don't just think that they're in the monetary instance. They can be absolutely anything, and time is your number one thing. Okay, so I always like to kind of bring that up as well. And then you have your bigger opportunity costs. Then you have your marriage and your kids. A lot of, and that landscape is changing, and I think it's fabulous. It's a great thing, because think about it, the opportunity cost of not having children is essentially doing whatever you want, whenever you want, not having to worry about extra expenses. And that's just fabulous. That is what so many people want, and they're really taking advantage of it. And then you have the opposite end of the stick of the opportunity cost of having children. So you go back and forth, but the point is that you need to have that perspective. That thought process needs to happen with big decisions like kids, jobs, relationships. But it really should be happening with little things. How are you spending Tuesday night from 5 to 7? What are you doing on these afternoons? Little types of things, like, does this type of product always just kind of annoy you? Why do we keep buying this? Make these small changes, okay? So let's think about back to Hill. What's the one thing we all definitely have in common? We all went to Hill together. That is the only thing that we all technically have in common other than being female, okay? So let's think back to Hill, because no one had to go to Hill. None of us had to go. We all could have gone to public school. A lot of us went to public school and then transferred, but nobody had to go. So there was an opportunity cost involved even in going to Hill. And we're already on the other end of the coin here, okay, because we went and we're all here. But if you think back to Hill, I mean, the opportunity cost of going to Hill was missed parties, probably some cool fights in high school, state championships, things like that, time at home, being with your family. Okay, so that's the opportunity cost of going to Hill. All those things, a lot of those things are very temporary, right? But the opportunity cost of not going to Hill is a little bit higher, okay? It's a lot of money. It was the experience, it's the education, okay? It's the friendships. It's this talk that you gotta listen to, okay? Like, this is the opportunity cost. So you guys are all making the right decision today, because clearly this is the most important part. So we even had that discussion 15 years ago, but we didn't have the discussion. It was probably our parents. It was the teachers. So we're now on the other end of it. So I want to just challenge everybody to think about this idea. Google it, look it up. I don't even care. Just try to put this in your mindset as a new perspective. It's an idea. It's a new ideology that doesn't have to just be appropriated to big time corporations. The idea of opportunity costs in our daily life, about how we can make small changes from 9 to 5, from 6 to 8, from however freaking heck you guys are up these days, really can have a cumulative effect. And I want you to think about it in terms of, what are you foregoing? What are the things that you're giving up, and what are the things that you're adding? Not in terms of always saving money, in terms of your genuine fulfillment, in terms of your happiness, in terms of efficiency and time, in terms of doing what you actually enjoy doing. It's not all going to be rainbows and butterflies, but it's really important to now be much more efficient with our time as we continue to get older, and to really keep things tight, close-knit, so you're not being pulled in a million directions. So you need to, at some point, reevaluate your opportunity cost and your priorities and say, I need to start making some changes. It's totally, totally important. It's doable. I have done it for the past 5 or 6 years, and I really encourage everyone to do that. And at the very end, what I wanted to just wrap up with is, I had a few people from Hill message me this past week, I guess whenever the email went out, just asking about how the heck I ended up where I am. So I'm going to end up with 2 minutes just for those people who I told I was going to do this for, mostly to also emphasize that how wonky this journey can be from Hill, which is kind of the best part about it, because you don't know where it's going to take you, because you don't know who you're going to meet, and you don't know the experiences that you're going to have until you go through it. So for those people who were wondering, after Hill, I went to Villanova for the nursing program. When I was in my summer of my freshman year, I studied abroad, and I was with a bunch of nurses who just had the best stories of all time. So I transferred into the nursing program. Never thought I would be a nurse. I wanted to be a broadcaster, loved it. And so did nursing, and then went on and worked for a year as a pediatric neurology nurse at CHOP, and then realized I wanted to go back and be a physician. So I stayed in Philadelphia. I went to PCOM. I ended up doing a a different program there where I stayed an extra year. So I studied and got my MBA in healthcare administration and my master's in biomedical ethics. And then after that, that's when I came down and started my practice. So my practice that I do is called Luminary Hair Restoration and Cosmetic Medicine. We do all hair restoration, all skin conditions. We're down here in South Jersey. We will be having our other office opening up soon in Philadelphia. So all of that stuff is a whole world in and of itself. And I probably could do an entirely other talk about what the heck is going on in that world for anyone interested in the aesthetics field or pursuing a career. I'm happy to talk to you about that. That's like a whole other talk, and you'll really see me excited when we start talking about that stuff, let me tell you. But for tonight's purposes, I wanted to just really reach out to the fellow Hill alumni that are out there, all the other women who are leading careers as being in the home, out of the home, whatever, traveling, you're not traveling, just as long as you're healthy. I just wanted to reach out and really continue to be that little bug in your ear that every one of us needs every now and then, to be like, all right, everything's good right now. Life's great. That's great. But we can always continue to learn and grow and be better than we even are today. Not this in like monumental sense, but just be a little bit better tomorrow. That's okay. We can always do that. There's always something to work on. So start evaluating your opportunity costs. I mean, you might need to get a new pillow, and the opportunity cost of not having a good pillow is a really bad sleep. And so if that's somewhere where you want to start, you need a good bed and you need a good pillow, because if you get a good sleep, you're going to be productive the next day. So I appreciate you guys all being here. I hope everyone had a nice little glass of wine. I had my vintage seltzer that I just love. And I appreciate it. If you guys end up watching us on YouTube and you have any questions or you want to talk to me about it, I'm happy to chat with anyone. But that's pretty much it. So thanks for having me on, Lindsay. I appreciate it.